Hi, everyone. Welcome today. Thank you so much for joining me with ATAV. My name is Candice Dugger. For those of you who don't know me, I am a homeschooling mom of two. And we're going to talk a lot today about entrepreneurship because as being a mom of two, I come from a business background. And I found that entrepreneurship was such an amazing way to help my children just really learning life skills. And as you'll hear our story today and a little bit about what we're doing and how I'm hoping this will bless your families. I started my homeschool journey back. It has been 11 years ago this June. I will have been homeschooling. As I said, I have two. One I've graduated, and my youngest son right now is 17 years old and is a thriving business owner, and is going to be graduating this year at HEAV, where everything started for us. So let's get started so I can tell you about what we're doing, what we're going to be talking about, and why this class may be a good fit for your family. So I am also the founder of Kids Business Academy. I help lots of families all around the world from classes and camps and workshops and curriculum, teaching their kids how do they handle and learn entrepreneurship. I believe, especially in today's world of AI and not knowing where the future is going to be for jobs, our kids having something that they can do for themselves without depending on other people and having the skill set to work in the marketplace, not only does it teach them skills for today, it teaches them how to pivot quickly. And several of the things that we'll talk about as we keep going on are how do they pivot in the marketplace and how do they make themselves relevant there as things are always changing. So let's get started. One of the things that parents always ask me about is what kind of business can my kids start? And that's going to be one of the first things we talk about in class. If your kids join me in class, what kind of business can my kids start? Well, of course, there's things that we all think about when we were growing up, like the lemonade stands and pet sitting, and all of those things are still incredibly relevant. And I will tell you, one of my sons, my oldest son, not only have both of my kids published books, and they're on Amazon. Both of my kids have published their own books. They're on Amazon. My other one has a second book, which is really in mental health and trauma for young tweens, but he is sold out. And I don't even have any copies in my own house of his book at the moment to show you. But both of my kids published books. And then he also started a pet sitting business. And you would think, wow, is it good money? I will tell you, his pet sitting business got so big in just a couple of years that he decided that he couldn't even continue because when he tried to hire more workers to work, they didn't have the ethics he had. And so he felt it was better to walk away. But I will tell you, this young man was so busy, he took classes in the morning because we homeschooled. In the middle of the afternoon, not only did he walk dogs and take care of them, we come from a family with lots of dog experience. I have national champion show dogs like you see in Westminster. We've trained medical alert dogs, therapy dogs. My youngest son has an autism support dog. Very big dog family. He would help people with training their puppies during the day. So when somebody got a puppy in the neighborhood or people we knew, he would do a 6-month package with them and teach them everything from leash skills and sit and down and stay and all of those things. And then once he got a client, he kept them for life. So don't knock off those jobs because our kids are around during the day to be able to help them. But as I said, his business grew to the point that he was like, I feel like I can't say no to anybody. And even trying to go away for a week with my family, my business got so busy. So he just decided when he turned 16 that he was going to lay that down and go on to other parts of his life. So make sure you keep a lot of those basic skills like mowing lawn and things that are really true services to our community as options for your kids because they can really be a great investment. And people ask me what made his business so different. Number one, as soon as he got there, he sent them a little picture like, hey, I'm here. We had a great walk. I played with Max today. Here's what we did. And so he always sent quick updates. He did follows up. He'd leave little treats when it was the dog's birthday. He did the little tiny extra things of customer service that made it special. And those are the little things that set us apart in business, right? No matter where we are. It's how do we make people feel? And so when we can learn that at a young age and our kids can really help their business grow. So those are some ideas. I will tell you, even on our team, we've hired youth to be our virtual assistants. Our kids, if they're detail oriented, can run a business being a great virtual assistant, doing editing and marketing. We have kids on our team who do baking, phenomenal. big time baking and businesses that they love selling and cooking. We have somebody who's a personal chef. They cook 2 days a week for older couples is really their specialty, families that just want good meals. And so they cook and they bring them to them 2 times a week, which is not just a blessing for them, but they get to practice their own skill. Resale businesses have become very big, from eBay and resale, and just all of those different streams are a great way that your kids can make lots of money. So keep those in mind. And as you'll see in our first class, we help our kids come up with what can they do. And then the second part is it going to make money? I will tell you a funny story. I had a young man that came to me and he just loved fishing. He loved fishing because he always went to his grandparents' house and he loved fishing and he wanted to sell worms, which I think is a great idea. But he lived in the inner city and his market to where he was selling to really didn't have access to water. They weren't big into fishing. So I was like, well, we have to really think this, because I don't know at your local farmer's market or your little area that you are, how many people are going to buy worms to go fishing. We need to think about, do you have access to sell these things or be in a different demographic? So we always want to make sure that we are meeting the marketplace so that it makes money, right? That's really important. Does it make money? Excuse me, folks. I'm just overcoming a little bit of a cold today. So with our kids, when we're helping them come up with an idea, we want to make sure they come up with something that makes money. And then the second thing I always want to teach kids to do is how to write an actual business plan. Because I will tell you, parents come to me all the time and they ask, how much money should I give my kid to start their business? And I will tell you how my husband and I have handled it. We have personally given our children up to $100 of seed money as investment to start when they had nothing, right? When they were very basic and didn't have anything. We asked them to repay us back, knowing that if they lost the money, it was an investment I was making in my kid, no different than signing the soccer check or the football check or the next music lesson. I was investing in my child to try something new. But I expected them to provide me with a business plan before I gave them any money. I wanted them to think out, what was this business? Who was their demographic? Could they tell me what their ICA is? Could they tell me who their ideal client avatar is? Could they tell me how they were going to sell? What was their price point? Who was their competition? I wanted them to be able to walk me through that, because if they could walk me through it, I knew at least they had given some thoughts behind it. Many times our kids may think, oh, that's kind of fun, and it's a fleeting moment, but will they put the work in? And so if your kids end up coming to class, and I really hope they will come to class with us, I will tell you, I am so thankful for HEAV. They are putting a lot into providing this class for you guys, and they are offering it through today, if you're an HEAV member, for $57, and that is 12 weeks of live classes, plus at the end, you get my full curriculum with all of our courses. So that's going to be a really big one. We will be able to go through in class probably about 20, a little more than 20 lessons. I'm going to shoot for 2 a day. But at the end, you'll get everything. So for your kids that want to keep going and keep working through it, they'll have that. And I'm wanting to also, a couple of other questions that I've gotten is this class for my child? It is for your child who has just an idea and doesn't know, or the child who already has a business and is wanting to take it to the next level. Because in class, I'm going to break children down into different groups if they already have a business or they're brand new, and we'll do teaching at the beginning, and then they're going to break out into small focus groups so that they can actually get feedback. And that's going to be one of the biggest bonuses for this live class, is they're going to actually have other students to talk to and to roundtable with, and to be able to bring great ideas and see, is this right for me? Is this a good idea? Do I need to tweak it? Young people are amazing at focus groups. I actually hire them to run my own focus groups because they come at things with such a beautiful and fresh idea that's not tainted by the world. So your kids are going to be able to do small groups, do most of their work in class. So they won't have tons of homework, but for kids that really want to buckle down and maybe take it to the next level or dig deeper, they can absolutely work on it outside of class. But my goal is that there would be very little homework and they'd be able to come and learn and be enthused, especially if it's very new to them. But for those that are really there and wanting to dig deeper and grow to maybe multi-streams of income, which will teach them, or how to take this to the next level, or how to protect their brand, they may want to do some work outside of class to really take that business up. So just want to make sure I share that, because I know those are some of the questions I've gotten. But back to business planning. If I'm going to give a kid money, I want to make sure they can give me a business plan. And we're going to teach them not only a business plan, but how do they write that business plan? What are the different levels? And I'm going to give them a couple of different options. In class, they'll have a basic, they're all one-page business plan. So we're not talking 32-page, whole things for me. It's a one-page business plan with the basics, so they know where they are and where they're going. And they can always sit down with somebody, a mentor, a business coach, with you, and know where's the direction of their business. They have a roadmap to make this thing work. And so in class, we'll have basics, but then we'll have advanced for kids who already have a business that's thriving. A couple other things that I have, we're going to talk about in class. We're going to go a lot over marketing. What is marketing? How do they market in today's market? For parents who are really concerned about their kids on social media, I am too. And we do a ton of work on online safety. We're going to give you parent agreements of what you should and should not say. How do you handle sales? Things that always concern me is when a parent takes a picture outside of their home of their child selling lemonades, and then they put it on Facebook, and now people have your child's picture in your house and they're selling lemonade. Or if they're starting to sell candles and they're selling them out of your home with your return address. These are things we're going to prepare you for ways to put other ideas in place to protect your family and to protect your child, along with what they should and should not share online. And how do you handle that? As you can imagine, in our family, with both of my kids being entrepreneurs, we have had to put a lot of different levels of safety patrol in place to keep them safe and to make sure that we always, my husband or myself, have a second set of eyes with them when they are doing social media, so that they know not only are our kids who they're interacting with are protected, but also we know who they're engaging with. A few other things I'll teach your kids in class, things you may not have even thought about. Like, this is one of my son's, I'll show you a couple of his things, but this is one of his multi-stream of income products for his birdhouses. As you'll see, all of his business cards, there's no phone number. There's no one here that can call my son. And if you need to talk to a 15, 16, or 17-year-old on the spectrum, we need to talk about why you need to talk to him. That's my conversation. You can message him on Facebook. You can send him an email. You can message him through the app. You can call me, but you're not getting a private meeting with my minor. So that's that. But we teach people, how do they put everything in place, and what are some really inexpensive ways you can sell online. And my son has his Shopify account. He actually does it for just $5 a month, and we keep things really low. And I will also tell you, because people ask, what does he sell? I'll show you really quickly. Oh my goodness, I don't know where to drop this. I stole this one because it matched my colors. My son makes these edible wildlife feeders. He makes these birdhouses. He actually has an event tonight. He had an event this weekend, and he has 10 more events before December 14th. He also has wholesale accounts and retail accounts, and he does private events and shopping, and he does things for the community. As he grew his business, we talked about multi-streams of income. So when the market shifts, like when COVID happened, what were things he could do that he could teach online, right? His classes here. Could he teach things? So we always want to think about, when the market shifts, what can you do? So his multi-streams of income are not just his books that he's written. And he can have his books he can sell on Amazon, and on his business cards, people can see how do they buy his book on his cards. They're marketed in his kits. It tells a story about him, who he is, so people know who he is. And then they can kind of see the story, so it comes with his. And then it talks about, how do you care for your birdhouse? And so questions they had, because he has autism, they ask these questions all the time, and it was becoming overwhelming for him. So he created in his marketing, answering all the questions they needed. So if he got overwhelmed, it didn't overwhelm him. So we've helped him in his business grow at a pace that was good for him, so that he only sells live at events, maybe 4 to 5 months out of the year. And the rest of the time, he goes to memory care centers and camps and trauma centers and places that people can, works with therapists and different groups, and sells his take and make kits and shows them how they can use it. for creative healness and wellness, for writing even in invisible ink with black lights or putting notes in them. He does all of those things. So I wanted to make sure we kind of just tell you that we're going to teach them how can they take one idea and make multiple levels of income out of it. So let me answer this question for Carla. Let's see. 2 quick questions. What age grade does the curriculum span, and is it online, and will people outside of you? That is a great question. The answer is yes. Anybody can sign up for my class. I'll say that first. If you're an HEAV member, or if you're not, they have a non-member price. And I'm going to ask somebody on the team. I think it's $87 for non-members, but I want to make sure that I let somebody on the team answer that. And then when we talk about curriculum and ages, I have written it for really middle school and up. So I would say if they're independent, like easily 12 and up, they can take the class. If you have a child who, say, is 10 and is ready to go and can come into class, how independent could they be, and how much support would they need from you? I will tell you, I have had kids as young as 6 that have blown me out of the water and have written multiple books in a year and have had them selling, and they are signing author books, and they are out there, and they are really exceptional, a little out of the box. Would that child be a great fit for my class? Absolutely. But they're on a little bit of a different path line. If I have a child who is 9 years old and they've started baking and they're already selling their things and they want to be in class, but maybe they're not quite at a point they're really reading and writing and able to keep up at that pace, absolutely come to class. They may need more of your support. So my question would be, you know your child best. I am here to encourage and bring the best out of them and their talents, and help them shine, and find out how I can help provide them with resources to take them to the next level. But you as a parent know, how much support does my child need? And I will tell you, my son Christian on the spectrum would have struggled in this class at 12. Now, this is a kid who could start college classes at 15, but he may have struggled in the classroom small group environment without me next to him, helping him, because sometimes the way information came at him with his autism, he needed a little help processing. So he'd have been great in the class, but he would have probably needed my support at 12. By 14, he'd have been great. So I hope that answers your question for you, so that we kind of give you all the good stuff there. A couple of things I want to tell you guys about in class, because I know we're kind of on a time crunch today, but when we get into marketing, some of the other things we're going to talk about, not just in marketing, but how to sell it online. How do they protect their brand? Really important. We're going to cover color theories. How do they put their logos together? What is a logo going to look like? How do you make it effective? What about all of the different fonts? We cover all of those things in class. They're going to actually build and design their own logos. We're going to teach them how to pitch. Really important. All of our kids need to know, how do they pitch their business in 30 seconds or less? How do they tell somebody and communicate? So we're going to practice public speaking. We're going to practice selling our products, all of those kind of good things. And I don't know if it's okay that I announce this yet, but if for those of you coming to convention that are in class and working on your pitches, they're working on something very, very special for our young entrepreneurs that will be at convention this year. So that's a big one that I'm very excited about. So I'm hoping I answered questions that I got earlier. I know, will students need to purchase no, everything I teach the kids is going to be free. I want kids to be able to use things like Canva, that's free. And we'll teach them other things, like when they're learning designs or logos. I, as a parent, also a homeschooling parent, do not want you to have to pay another dollar or invest anything else. A lot of times, even when they're just doing designs and logos, I'm going to have them start with just colored pencils. That's how I start. I want you to pick your logos, pick your designs, pick the colors. And we're going to talk about how many colors they should have, and the colors of emotions, and all of those different things, and how do designs and brands work together. But I'm going to have them just sketch it out on paper. And even if they don't want to go into Canva and build one, that is no problem. They can do it just with colored pencils that you have at home. So that's some things to kind of answer for you there. I also think it's really important. Another thing that this class is for is not just the resources I'm giving them, but to connect a sense of community. I will tell you that so many of my young entrepreneurs, not do they just learn from other young entrepreneurs, but if you have a young entrepreneur, it is hard to find other friends out there in the community, because just like my son on the weekends, a lot of times he's at shows. His other friends might be out, they're going to the movies or they're doing other hobbies, but he's at events and shows. So a lot of his best friends or closest friends also have businesses because they can relate to him and they understand what it's like. Let's say he loses an account or he picks up 3 big accounts. Those friends that he has met in the young entrepreneur world understand what that's like. And there's also some things that just come up with being a young entrepreneur that can be very frustrating. He's setting up some new banking accounts and he needs mom and dad because he's not 18 on how to do this or how to grow or signing contracts or protecting his business or insurance things. All of these things that have happened as he's grown, not only have his other young entrepreneurs talked to him, because even though I do this, sometimes, as you guys know, mom and dad might not be the one you want to ask. Having other friends that he can talk to or ask how he's problem solving or how do they handle things with customers has been just a wonderful blessing. And then he goes out to their events and supports them, and they come to him and support him. And it's been just a big community. So I am hopeful that your kids who are looking to launch businesses will also find other friends in the community that can really help enrich them and help them grow and help just be a big support for them, especially if they're going to get a young entrepreneur booth at HEAV. They'll have some friends they can talk to when they get there this year. So I'm hoping I answered all your questions for you. I will also be at convention. On top of teaching this class, I will be there this year, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. We are going to start right after the first of the year, the very beginning of January, and this class is going to run 12 weeks. We want to get you out before, all the spring hobbies start. So it's a great time in those winter months, January to March. You can knock out a class, get your kids really thinking. Maybe they'll be ready for the spring farmers markets to start selling some things in April and May, or they can start really looking forward to setting those goals. We talk a lot in class about goal setting, and not just personally, like professionally, but personally, how do they get there? So we are really looking to give them not just tips for their business, but also transferable skills that they'll be able to use for a lifetime. So I hope you guys will join us. I have to tell you, registration, they have already had, I thought registration opened today. It has been open and they have so many students already signed up. We are limited on space and availability. I want to make sure I'm able to give all of the students the right amount of attention. So if you are going to sign up, today is the last day for HEAV members at $57. And if you think about it, that's for 12 weeks of live teaching. Plus at the end, you are going to get my full curriculum if they want to keep going. And even just buying my curriculum in an ebook, it's normally $197. We sell it at $49 at convention, which is crazy to me. Your kids are getting an amazing deal to be able to come to live classes. And we are just really excited. I am excited to be teaching this and participating and helping our kids really just take those God-given talents that they have and share that with the world and their joy. And it's just so wonderful to see kids go from just an idea to really something that they bring into this world and that they bring and just share. I can't tell you how many people come back to see my sons over and over again with their business and what an impact they're making. Yes, they make a product and they sell it, but their products mean something to people, and just what joy they bring to them. It is something that I just almost can't express till you see it. But as a mom, not only am I proud, but I'm grateful that they're able to share these talents with other people and able to make some money and set goals and be able to put money aside for things that they want. So I look forward to having you all in my class. By all means, ask any questions you have. I'll pop in the chat later and do my best to answer anything. Oh, yes. This is a big one. It is thanks to an entrepreneurial grant that they are able to offer this class at such a great price. It is because they got a grant that they're able to offer this. So this is due to the fact that they worked on this for quite a while. And this grant is helping so many people be able to attend this class, which is when you're coming to my classes, outside of this, they're normally a couple $100s for a class of this level. So you're able to participate because of the cost and the fact that HEAV has worked so hard to get a grant to make this available at a low cost for everybody. So thank you all so much. I just really look forward to having each of your students in the class, and I really hope it will bless them in their journey to just learn new skills and see. And this class, as I said, both of my kids are, they'd be considered special needs. One has ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and about every executive functioning that you can imagine. Keeping him on task was a problem. And then my other son has autism. So having your children with lots of different learning glitches or styles, or however they're beautifully and uniquely made, they are all welcomed in class. And you as a parent will know how much you need to support them. But if you have questions ahead of time, just ask me. I am here to help and support you in any way I can. So thank you all so much. And I look forward to having your kids in January.